I could never see myself doing that.
Doing squats?
No.
In the gym? Like videotaping?
Filming myself.
Filming yourself?
Yeah.
No, we just record ourselves.
Yes. This is much less embarrassing.
Yes. We're not half naked. Or are we? Welcome to A Cast with No Name. We are your hosts. I'm Jay.
And I'm Matt.
This is episode 69. Nice.
Nice.
This episode, we discuss another hidden gem as we dive into the world of independent filmmaking while we discuss the 1995 Tom DeCillo movie, Living in Oblivion. But first, don't forget to visit our website, actually, acastwithnoname.com, where you can listen to our entire episode library. You can also find us on Apple and Spotify, plus anywhere else you get your podcasts, and we're on YouTube. So if you enjoy the show, please leave us a like or a comment, anything. If you don't enjoy the show, then, well, you don't have to do that unless you want to.
You just get out of here.
To bait people to listen. So, Living in Oblivion.
Yeah, you recommended this.
Yes.
You said you watched it in college?
Yes.
For film class?
I think it was my freshman year, and it was pleasantly funny.
I would agree with that.
But I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a movie to where if you've ever made something, didn't even have to be professional, but if you've ever done try to do any kind of video work or film work or making a production of any kind, especially with actors or actresses, and you have a lot of these moving parts, it speaks to that, and a lot of people who've done those things can watch this movie and get something out of it. But also, if no one's done any of those things, I feel like they could watch this and it would be a very, I guess, I don't know, it'd be a pretty accurate representation as far as everything that kind of goes on, like how tedious it
certain
could be, and everything like that. But I remember it being enjoyable. Remember it being funny, entertaining, but yeah, it was one of the highlights of the movies that we were slated to watch out of all my film classes. So this is one of the ones that sticks out on top for me.
After rewatching, do you think it got a lot right?
Yeah. I mean, and I don't do much video stuff anymore, but it reminded me of everything that I didn't like about doing it. Because there is a lot of tedious stuff. It feels like like you set up a million things to get 10 seconds or 60 seconds something on camera, and just the amount of things that could go wrong, or the things that you have to put up with, or just anything you come across. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah. And
I think that's why, as I did more and more stuff, I kind of went over towards the editing side of things, because I cannot stand production, or actually recording something. And it is
pretty incredible how coordinated you have to be just to get, a scene with two people just sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
So when I was watching this movie, I'm thinking, wow, how did they coordinate things like Oppenheimer or The Dark Knight?
A lot of crew and a lot of people. You get those massive movies, and I mean, this is such a small story that these characters are trying to tell. Yeah. But it's like anything and everything could go possibly wrong, and if you magnify that to like Oppenheimer or that kind of scale, the amount of stuff that could and obviously does go wrong on a constant basis, and
especially if you're not in studio, like if you're on location.
Yep.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, because they have the
boy, oh boy,
the road noise they have, because they have to lock down the street. They're shooting at 4:00 in the morning. They're doing all these things to try and minimize things that would affect the shoot, which would then delay the whole budget, or delay the whole production, and then make the budget go up, or they'd start running out of money. Yeah,
this movie depicts it well. It's good. It's funny.
But yeah, so, movie overall, so it's directed by Tom DeCillo, and it came out in 95, and it stars Steve Buscemi, Catherine Keener, Dermot Mulroney. Peter Dinklage shows up towards the end, which this is his first movie.
Was it?
Yes, and Kevin Corrigan,
he's in everything.
Yeah, who's in everything. So you have.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Yes,
it's the show he was in.
Yeah,
that's why he reminds me of every time I see him.
I first noticed him in The Departed.
Yep.
He played, I think, Leonardo DiCaprio's character's cousin, and that was the first thing I noticed him in. And then, when I watched Arrested Development, I was like, oh yeah, he's in there, and then he's in Pineapple Express. He's just in a bunch of random movies.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grounded for Life, not Arrested Development.
Got you. Okay.
I'm an asshole. Sorry.
Well, I'm an asshole because I just agreed with you that he's in Arrested Development without
Grounded
calling
for
you
Life.
on it.
It's the show with he plays like the brother, the deadbeat brother who lives with like his brother who has a family and all.
He
that
was
stuff.
in but his brother was in What We Do in the Shadows. Oh God, he played himself. I know who you're talking about. He was in like some detective show on FX or something like.
Yep.
Gray. It's named after Terriers.
Terriers. Yep, for one season. I heard that's a good show. That got canceled.
Have not seen it
Really early. I'm gonna find his name. This is bugging the shit out.
Well, while you find it,
Donald Luge.
Yeah, Donald Luge.
Yeah.
The speaking of another show that just got canceled, Winning Time.
It did?
Yep.
What for? It was too good?
Apparently. And I found that out I think yesterday, and I was like, well, shit, because I haven't even finished season 2 yet. But yeah, it's not going to be a season.
Probably
3.
couldn't pay the writers. They're on strike. Get out of here.
Probably, but I don't know. I was like,
that sucks.
That's a good show about basketball and business, and I don't care about basketball, so it's like, I don't know. It's
you needed the business.
Yeah, I
to
felt
bridge the gap
a little bit. Yeah, but I felt like I was kind of dipping my toe into the sports world, or at least could have something to talk about. So people would be talking about like Sunday Night Football and everything else, and I'd be like, well, you guys want to talk about the Lakers in the early 80s?
We'll talk about the 88 Lakers. Let's do it.
So we have Living in Oblivion, and not long movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Hopefully, if you've listening to this, you've probably already seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is was made as kind of like a little bit of a love letter, but just more of, I mean, it doesn't feel like a love letter. It feels more like, here's what it's like. I feel like someone asked Tom DeCillo, like kept asking, oh, what's it like to make a movie? And he probably got tired of answering the question, so he made this.
Comes out in the writing.
Yeah. And yeah, because you can, I don't know, there's a lot of small things in this movie that you kind of wonder, you can see why people hate to make a movie, or they're not, like they say it's really, really hard to make a movie.
Yep.
And all that stuff. But
you only hear about the glamorous aspects of it. You don't hear about the, like you said, tedious things, which there's a lot of scenes in here that go on into all the tedious aspects of just shooting a scene.
Yep. But yeah, well, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Well,
I liked it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Good.
I thought it was funny.
What were some of the aspects you liked?
I thought it was very creative. I liked you could tell it was a small budget. So when you do that, you have to be a little creative. I liked going out of black and white and into color. At first I'm like, oh, okay, so it's black and white. I thought it was going to be black and white when they were shooting the movie, and then it was color when they were back in reality. But obviously that wasn't the case. There was like, you're in a dream, and then when you're out of the dream, you're in color back in reality. But then they flopped it again, like midway through, maybe 3/4 of the way through. So I was kind of like, okay, well then what's the symbolism of the black and white versus the color? Either way, it doesn't matter. It was still interesting.
What stood out to me when I watched, because I noticed that too. Obviously you notice it when you watch it, but the first so this movie's broken up into about 20-minute segments, 25-minute segments, and each segment is the first segment you find out is a dream. That was who was the first dream? I think it was
Steve Buscemi's
dream.
Yep.
And then you had the second segment was a dream by Catherine Keener's character. And then the third portion, I don't think was a dream.
Wasn't a dream, yeah.
It was just real life, but they just happened to be filming a dream sequence.
Right.
So, but with the color flip-flopping and in the first segment, you had everyday life black and white. As soon as he hits record or the camera's rolling, everything's in color.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just kind of took that as that's Nick, played by Steve Buscemi. That's what's important to him. That's what's in color in his life. His every day and everything else is just crap compared to what he's doing and what he's getting on camera. That's what's important to him. And then you have Catherine Keener's character. It's exactly the opposite. She's struggling with the fact if she even wants to be an actress anymore. She's having a lot of self-doubt with her ability. She's second-guessing herself. But as a result, then you have real life is more interesting to her than actually what she's doing on camera. And why that was kind of flipped on that.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Now I feel like a...
No, it's...
No, that's probably what it is.
I
very
hope
good,
so.
very astute.
I hope so, because whenever I talk to somebody about this movie, it kind of delves into that, and I hope I'm correct.
You are correct. I believe you are correct. That makes the most sense.
Meanwhile, Tom DeCillo is like, no, I just ran out of fucking color stock.
Yeah.
It was the last part of the shoot.
It was cheap, yeah. But yeah, that was interesting. I thought everyone was great. Catherine Keener's great in it. I mean, Steve Buscemi, when he gets angry, it's so funny. There's not too many actors that can play angry funny as well as Steve Buscemi can.
Yeah, and he's good at playing a character that you can tell is visibly frustrated.
Yeah,
and plays it well. Not that he's good at hiding it, because his like that type of performance that he did, his character wasn't hiding it well. You could just tell he was.
Yeah,
like he was just trying to move on to the next thing to get what he needed to get, but no, I liked it. What else? Was there anything else that kind of stood out with you?
I mean, I didn't find too many things were cons in the movie. I thought it was an interesting choice to have like dream sequence with the dwarf in it. I think the with Peter Dinklage in it. I think that whole thing was just to put the line in there of have you ever had a dream with a dwarf in it?
Yeah,
because
I don't even have dreams with dwarves in them.
Yeah, that's a good line. Because I mean that's something you don't. Why is that? Why do we associate dwarves as like magical, otherworldly beings? I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know for that instance, but I do know, like, when I first saw it, I thought it was hilarious, because I think up until that point, that's pretty much what dreams were. Rewatching it, I couldn't relate to it as much, because when I think of dream sequences now, I'll think of shows that have just done dream sequences better. And the first one that comes to the top of my head is The Sopranos. And whenever Tony has, like, there's some episodes, I think there's at least one episode where it's just totally in his head. He's dreaming. But then there'll be certain segments throughout the show where he's taking a nap, he's sleeping, he's doing whatever, but then he's in another dream. And the way they did those dream sequences, I thought were fantastic, because it's random enough. It's weird enough to where it's not explaining everything, but it would feel like it would make sense. And just the way it was presented, I think was really, really well done. I think there was a couple in probably Game of Thrones, but I'm pulling that out of my ass. I could not, maybe not. Oh, maybe like 6 Feet Under.
Okay.
And other shows have done dream sequences better, other than just goofy batshit off the wall stuff for the sake of being goofy.
Yeah. Did you notice that when they finally did get the scene right in the dream sequence? I mean, it's not that good, but they're so excited to he was like, it came together. He's like, I got something. It took the whole movie, and even though it was dog shit, he was just so super pumped that he finally was able.
Imagining he's going to be winning all these awards and everything else. And one thing that I noticed though is like every single scene that they're shooting looks horrible.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it just looks like it's not that interesting of a movie. And of course, I'm sure that was probably done on purpose because a lot of times people on the outside looking in like, that sounds interesting, or that doesn't, why would someone make a movie about that? But you have these people that are attached to it that may or may not be at times, like a job like any other job, to where you may have someone that's like super passionate about it, or just doing it as the next step in their career. You have, what was the guy's name? Chad. To where he said the only reason why he did that movie is because he's like, I thought you were tight with Quentin Tarantino. He was just trying to get on his good side so he could eventually get into a different movie. And you have all these, there's talk about all these, like the gaffer and some of the production assistants talking about like, oh, I'm making my own movie, you know. And so they're like just doing it for the little bit of the experience, but then you have like one person who's like super passionate about it, and it's just still, it kind of sucks. And it's just like one of those things to where you don't know what you're going to have until after it is made. And that's the sad thing too, is you could put a lot of time and energy into something and just have it turn out like shit, or completely different than what you initially went into it hoping to do.
Because what's the movie even about? The first scene is Catherine Keener's character confessing to her mom that she was like abused by her dad or something, and then the second one's about her, supposedly about her professing her love for what's the character's name? Chad Palomino's the actor, but anyway, professing her love to that character. And then the third scene is obviously the dream scene. It's like, oh, you really want that apple. So I'm like, what are they even making here?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
And I think it doesn't matter what they're making.
It doesn't.
It's like every movie. Yeah. Like that's supposed to represent every low budget movie, to where you have some people that think they're just making gold, to where no, more likely you're just making something that no one's going to watch.
Right.
I mean, worst case scenario, no one ever watches it. Best case scenario, someone notices it or something. But it's just one of it's because everything's a coin flip.
Yep. So I loved that the scene was garbage, but they were so happy. That was I thought that was a nice touch. And then I liked the second scene where the actor, the quote unquote superstar, is giving him notes on how it should be. I'm sure that happens all the time.
Yeah, and you
it
can't
probably
say no to
Tom
somebody
DeCillo,
like that because he's in there for a favor. Or like, you guys, like everyone on that set is so lucky to have him there, but at the same time, no one wants him there because they can't do what they want to do, kind of a thing. Yeah,
and he played that character pretty well.
Oh yeah,
he's been in a bunch of movies too.
Yeah, there's James LaGrosse. There's been rumors that it was based off of Brad Pitt.
Oh,
because Tom DeCillo had recently worked with him on something, not necessarily directing, but he has come out and he said no, it's not Brad. And
did he do one of these winks?
No, I don't think he did one of those winks. Then the other idea was that it was Val Kilmer, and that I could kind of see, just because Val Kilmer's been known to be like very serious and very temperamental, because he wants to do like the best work kind of a thing. I mean, was it like The Island, Dr. Moreau or something? Like the whole production went to shit because it was pretty much egos of Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer going at each other. But so you never really know who it was based on. But yeah, just that typical person of more into himself than the actual project, but
making the worst suggestions, by the way.
Yeah.
And they're terrible.
Yeah.
But everyone going along with it.
Yep. And everyone has to be like, like, how about if he has an eye patch? Like, I don't.
Don't you love how you convince them not to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gay, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, you have to lie to people almost in certain situations, like, because you will get bad ideas on, and someone will just be like, oh, what do you think about this? Like, it's pretty good. Yeah. let me think about that, or oh shit, sorry, we don't have money, or yeah, we can't do it because of this and this. Oh, but that's such a great idea, kind of. So you find ways to lie to
compliment sandwich.
Yeah. And a little bit, yeah, but just to kind of like to keep those batshit things out, without hurting the person's feelings, because then it's going to affect something else in the work. So it's like a continuous tap dance.
Yeah. I thought Dermot Mulroney was good.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite.
Really good.
Like he's one of my favorite characters in this. I like. Well, it goes back to that. They're really excited. So when they're shooting that love scene, and oh God, what was it? Oh, they're talking about like going handheld, or there's some idea and he's like, roll that motherfucking camera, Wolfie. He's like, kiss my ass, yeah. And then Steve Buscemi's like, yeah, now we're making a movie. And it's like whatever idea they just agreed to is just like some piece of crap thing, but everyone, like, you have a couple of people that are really excited about it, and it just doesn't really mean much. It's just gonna be crap anyway.
I think they were just excited to come to some agreement. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter how
to progress it forward.
It didn't matter
because they changed the blocking, they changed the and in those certain, like, and that's where the tedious part comes in, is because when they talk about changing something, it's like, well, we got to change a light. All right, how long is that going to take? 10 minutes. Okay, all right, we're going to change, like, and so then everybody moves, like, and you have 10 people working, changing stuff just to get it. Okay, now it's set. Well, let's change it back. Fuck. All right, now they got it. I mean, it's just doing a lot of work, rework to get something.
Do you think a lot of movie sets have the guys that try to do like things like trying to figure out the smoke machine, and they have no idea what they're fucking doing?
I would say smaller, smaller things like that. Yeah, that I could definitely see, because a lot of that stuff is
you
rental.
Put the oil. Yeah, it's like Jesus.
Yep, this is definitely for the oil. But yeah, larger sets like that. No, I'm sure there's so much insurance that you have. I mean, I'm sure there's still some element of unknown, especially with like new technology that they haven't used before. Yeah. So like when you get on movies like Avatar or something like that, to where it's really using some cutting edge stuff that. I'm sure a lot of it's guesswork, or a lot of it's just very painful process of, well, that didn't work. How do we make this work? And they're trying to figure it out while they have people sitting on the sides like, let's go.
I like the close up at the very beginning of the camera.
Yeah.
In on itself.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice little, reference, metaphor, I guess.
Yeah. Good little, you're going into the movie making.
You're going into the movie making process.
Yeah. And because you get, that's something I like. You get all aspects of, like, I can remember people that I've done stuff with that I could place on different characters and stuff like that. To where you have like very professional people, like the older woman actress you have, to semi-professional, which is Dermot Mulroney Wolf, because he's a professional cinematographer. I mean, still seemed a little green, but still took their work seriously. You had the script supervisor, who was just like a battle axe almost, where like very strict, very to where you have gaffers that just really don't know what they're doing, but they're somebody's friend, or like they're a body there that you needed, so you kind of put up with.
Yeah, bro. Surfer bro.
Yeah, with the ignorance or whatever. So, or the just wanting to be there kind of a thing.
Did you think that Dermot Mulroney should have switched with James LaGrosse? Because Dermot Mulroney is just so handsome. He would be more like the leading man than the guy who played Chad, and Chad would have been the DP.
Yeah, I think honestly, hair color might have had something to do with it.
Okay.
And I don't, because like you typically think like Hollywood star, like blonde hair.
Okay.
But yeah, Dermot Mulroney is definitely like very handsome, very like he could be very like debonair or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm sure he could play that role. And but I don't know, like just
maybe
the blonde ditzy look is pretty good. I feel like it's kind of hard to.
It's a better character, the DP, Or you get to
Yeah.
you get to wear the eye patch and say funny lines.
Yeah. And I mean, and the same thing, like, I don't know. I think they're both good characters. I feel like I can see how both of them could be fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think he could have killed it in that role as well too.
For sure. And what was with Catherine Keener's Harry Pitts? What was that all about? Jeez.
A lot of weird feelings when I saw that for the first time.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she was like in the middle of doing another movie. Maybe it was a period
Could
piece
be.
or something like that, or it could just be she had. But yeah, I remember in film class someone asked her like, Harry Pitts threw me off.
Well, this was what, the mid '90s?
Yeah.
During Lilith Fair and Sarah McLachlan and that whole like fourth wave feminism thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Free the pit.
Free the pit.
Just let it fly.
Let that hair flow.
But here, let me. You want to go to this clip that I have?
Yeah.
This is great. All right, to set this up, this is when things just can't go right at all, and Steve Buscemi has one of his classic meltdowns.
Cut!
What the fuck is that? Sound?
Not me. It's a camera.
Fuck it is, it's off. It wasn't even running, dick glass.
What is going on down there? Do I have a lockup? What, nothing? You don't hear a beeping sound? The street's quiet.
What the fuck is it? It's somebody's watch.
It's not mine.
It's not mine. Not mine. Okay, where is it? Sucking motherfucking bastard, where are you? Take a walk, Les. Go get coffee and don't come back, all right? God, I said no food on. Where are you? Can somebody help me, please? Huh? Do I have to do everything myself here? Ah, Cora? Why don't you go learn your lines, Cora? Hey, script! How about paying attention a little bit there, okay? Hey, focus puller. I got some good tie stick. You want to go fucking smoke one, or you want to pay attention here? What are you laughing at, Wolf? You fucking pretentious beret-wearing motherfucker. Hey, I saw your reel, man. It sucked. Fuck would hire you anyway. Hey, Bob! Hey, Bob! Can you make a little noise on the fucking dolly? Huh? You creaky motherfucker. Wanda, next time can you wear a shirt that's a little bit more distracting to my actors? What is your name anyway? What do you fucking do around here? Hey, Speedo, you can't find a little fucking beat? Huh? You see what I fucking have to deal with here, Nicole? Maybe do some of that magic on camera? No, wait till fucking Wolf is puking his guts out. Oh, now I'll be good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yep. And definitely wraps up that segment of his anxiety dream as far as like what could go wrong.
Yeah.
Everything could go wrong, and just having to deal with that. But I think this would be very, I mean, most people I talk to that have seen this before are usually like really into movies, or they watched it in class because of that, or like someone told them to watch it because they worked in a production of some kind. But I feel like this is definitely could be relatable to anything. I mean, it's like any other job, really. Just with all the shit going on and having to deal with it and everything. But yeah, definitely if you've worked on anything, like even, it doesn't even matter like if it's like you're shooting a cell phone video, the same shit applies to where someone walks in your shot or whatever. Like, I always flip through on our A Cast with No Name Instagram.
Yeah.
Whenever I flip through the reels, there'll always be like those clips of like those what do they call them? Insta-hos?
Insta-hos.
Insta-hos, that's the proper term. When they're like doing like fucking squats and shit in the gym, and they're like recording, and then they get all upset because someone walks in front of their camera. I mean, I guess it's kind of mirrored to that, but just don't do that. Don't be a shitty person. Don't go to a gym and do that. Just
stop it.
Just hop over to OnlyFans. Just make the leap.
Just do it.
If you don't have millions of followers right now, it's not going to happen. Just get that sweet release of irrelevance and go away.
Go away. Jeez. I could never see myself doing that.
Doing squats?
No.
In the gym? Like videotaping?
Filming myself.
Filming yourself?
Yeah.
No, we just record ourselves.
Yes. This is much less embarrassing.
Yes. We're not half naked. Or are we? We're not. But we are. Seriously, we're not.
Secret sauce behind the action.
Yes. But no, it's just...
I'm looking at the clip right now, and I'm just realizing how shitty the sets look.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. They're awful.
Yeah. It looks like
looks terrible.
They went to a playhouse, and it was like the sets they used for like a month for production, and then they tear them down and build them back up.
Build them back up, yeah.
But yeah, it's very relatable. It makes me not want to make there's some movies that make me want to make a movie. This is not one of these movies that I like the simple aspectness of the story.
Yep.
And how it takes place in one location, more or less.
Yep.
And he was able to get a feature-length film out of it. And it's entertaining and I think relatable. Even if you can't relate to it directly, you could at least insinuate, and you get the you can relate to the characters as far as what they're going through. So you can understand, like, you always hear how actors are always self-conscious, and you're like, why would they be self-conscious? They're famous, they're blah blah blah, but then they go to work and the people are talking behind their back as far as, oh god, she sucked in that, and and everything else. But
oh, you know why I didn't pick up that it was gonna be a dream in the very first scene is because, you know, you mentioned talking shit. Catherine Keener's character overhears a couple women talking behind her back. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, how would Steve Buscemi know that if he's dreaming about himself? You know what I mean? Didn't make sense.
Oh, in the first segment?
Yeah. That's why like when the beeping started, I'm like, oh, this is a dream. I wouldn't have thought of that because of that scene that I just talked about. How would someone be
able to know that
someone else was,
Oh, he probably heard that I mean, he's probably aware that people aren't sure if she still has it, has what it takes to be an actor. But then again, also in the beginning of the scene, it also starts off with, I mean, if it's his dream, he's omniscient.
Sure,
so
he's the narrator.
But you could have it. But it is weird how one dream relates to the next. So it almost feels like a continuation.
Yeah.
To where from Nick's dream to what was her character's name? Was it Nicole?
Yes, Nicole.
To her dream, it almost feels like a continuation of sorts.
I do like movies like this because of the small budget aspect of it. Because I feel like the creativity just comes through in the script and the acting and everything. When you have so little to work with, normally good stuff comes out.
Yeah, the script, the script for sure. Because I mean, they're very simple things, but I mean, there's only 3 scenes that they're shooting, but each one is detailed and a mess in its own way. To keep it entertaining, it's not harping. It doesn't go back to the same shit. So it's not like they do the sound gag again in scene 2. This is a different problem. Which I like how he did that, to where he took the separate segments and was able to separate problems so they weren't repeating, so that way it kind of stayed fresh throughout the whole thing. So not only you're not sitting through 90 minutes of the same scene with all these things happening, it's here's a little bit, here's a little bit, here's a little bit, and each had its own things.
Yeah, he did a good job kind of hopping around what other people were doing. Especially that last scene with the smoke machine and trying to...
we got a hamster in there blowing out smoke.
Steve Buscemi trying to calm his mom down and all that. And yeah, so it wasn't just, like you said, focusing on the one scene. There was some kinetic energy. He was creating kinetic energy, so it wasn't just like a stationary thing, and it would have made it way more boring. So yeah, things like that you wouldn't think would make something interesting that, I don't know how much this costs, maybe $30,000 or $100,000 maybe. Clerk was made for 10 grand or whatever it was. So.
It was very small. I think a lot of the actors did it for free or donated their own money for it. I am not seeing.
How nice of them.
I am not seeing a budget.
I love how they called.
$500,000.
Really?
Yeah.
What did Steve Buscemi get? 300,000?
Maybe.
I like how they called Peter Dinklage's character Tito. I don't know why that made me laugh.
Tito. One thing I liked in the second segment, that's the one when they're filming the love confession scene.
Yeah.
And what I noticed watching this is they change that scene so many times. They change the blocking. They change inflection of character, like what the characters are really saying. They change the lighting. They change all these different aspects. All these different ideas play out. And then at the very end, they end up just shooting it like it was scripted in the first place. And that's the other thing too, is like, and sometimes like that does happen. Like it happens in any profession to where like, oh, well, I'm not so sure about that, blah, blah, blah. And then people start changing things, throwing stuff in, and that doesn't work either. And then what ends up working is if they would have just fucking listened to some guy the first time and just did it. And it's like aspects of that movie I feel like are very relatable to no matter who watches it.
Yeah. Well, I saw here that Tom DeCillo was a cinematographer that worked with Jim Jarmusch a lot, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Jim Jarmusch is like notorious for like black and white movies and just like the, I don't know, low budget, somber feeling. And he kind of looks like him a little bit. But other than this, I'd never heard of Tom DeCillo. I'm trying to go through like.
This is the only thing.
Yeah, this is the only I see.
Like he did Delirious, which is another Steve Buscemi movie. I never watched it. He does a lot of TV now. So he does like a lot of Law and Order, Chicago Fire, stuff like that. But he's only directed, I think, a little bit of. So let's see, he did Living in Oblivion. Johnny Suede was I think the only other one that I remember hearing, and that starred Brad Pitt. So so they think it was kind of like him, but that was 91, and that was before Brad Pitt was huge.
Yeah, before he was Brad Pitt.
Yeah, and he did Box of Moonlight, Delirious, When You're Strange, like a lot. Like this is the only one I've seen. And I think I enjoyed this movie because of the subject matter, not so much as him as a director of, because it's directed fairly straightforward, I feel like. And I mean, it's directed well, but he didn't have like a distinct enough style or anything that made me feel like, oh, I got to watch more stuff of him.
Yeah. Well, now I understand why they thought Brad Pitt, why that character Chad was in reference to Brad Pitt, because I've never seen Johnny Suede, and Brad Pitt stars in it.
I've seen pieces of it.
I remember the VHS cover in like Blockbuster when I would rent movies, but I never saw it.
I only remember one thing from it. And I think it was from that movie. He was like he had a suede shoe up next to a microphone, and he was on stage, and he was like brushing a toothbrush against it or something like that. And I was flipping channels, and I just came across it. It was probably on HBO or something like that. But no, I haven't really seen anything else that he's done. But
he's good.
Yeah, no,
this movie's really good.
It's good, and the writing was spot on. I mean, this feels like he's. It feels real, obviously.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
You could tell the person who wrote it and directed it had been on movie sets. He experienced those things, and I feel like this is probably the most realistic movie I've seen as far as on movies about making movies. But there's not too many of them. I mean, you get a couple, like there's like State and Maine. You ever see that one?
Heard of it. Isn't that David Mamet?
I don't know. It has William H. Macy and Stephen Baldwin not Stephen Baldwin, Alec Baldwin, William H. Macy, and that came in like the mid 2000s.
Gotcha. Stephen Baldwin.
I go to the
Give that man more dialogue.
Oh, first Baldwin coming to the top of your head. Stephen Baldwin. What? Billy Baldwin. No.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you. I just thought about this. So that you saw this in film class. Is that a good move? Because wouldn't this distract you or detract you from wanting to make movies after watching something like this?
That was part of the reason to where
they're like, "Hey, you don't want to do this."
A little bit. They're like, "This is fairly realistic. This is what you'll experience." And but we also had, I think it was because excuse me, if I can remember correctly, because it got 20 years ago now, we had different subject. Was it a director's class or what is a? I think this was an auteur portion. So a lot of, I think the class, the way we had it is like we were hitting genres.
Okay. And
so we would watch something notable from like horror. We watched Rear Window, or suspense or something like that. We watched Rear Window. And then we watched like film noir. I think we watched Fargo or Big Lebowski. It was a Coen Brothers movie, or Big Lebowski is one of them. I think it was Fargo. And then we watched an auteur, and it was just writer, director, like specific vision kind of one.
Gotcha.
Go after which. And this was before Wes Anderson. So, and the notion of auteur is that the filmmaker is the author. They're the ones that
they're in control of everything.
Yes.
Like Stanley Kubrick comes to mind like instantly.
Yep. Yeah, that's another one. So, but would then also have like distinct style. So I want to say that's why we watched it, or maybe it was just an independent thing. I can't remember the reason why we watched it, but it had to have fallen under some genre or some kind of subclassification.
I love it. Like, you don't want to do this. Here's why. Oh, and then is that a real thing at the end where, what is it? They get the scene and like, okay, we have to record 30 seconds of ambient noise.
Yes.
Is that really?
That is real. So it's room tone. So every room has sound, whether you know it or not. And that was the bitch, is because like now you have LED lights. You don't really run into it too often, or at least it's easier, but you have fluorescent lights, and fluorescent
gives off sound.
Yeah, like a lot of sound, especially if you have a decent microphone. You can hear the humming, and different lights give off different sounds. And then, or you have an air conditioner, or you have something, the echoiness, but every room has a sound. And the point of getting the room sound or the room tone is so that way when you cut to things, you can kind of underlay it and hide the cuts of dialogue. So if you ever watch a really shitty video or movie, home movies, to where like you could just find it on YouTube. Some kids like making a video in class or something like that, and then it cuts away. So it's like, oh wait, don't do that, and you hear this, and then it cuts away, and the hiss is gone, like at the same time as the cut. It's very jarring. And the reason to get consistent room tone is because if you're starting to cut, even if you're because if you're recording dialogue and you have a boom mic, wherever that boom mic is and travels, it's going to pick up different sounds in the same room. So what you want, consistent sounds, so that way you can hide your cuts a lot better. And that's something that is extremely useful, and it is like a dead giveaway as far as like a decent production versus one that's not, is being able to cover up those cuts. But no, yeah, it's a real thing.
Huh.
I actually still do that, use that if I'm, so I think we recorded, we will record, like if I record I'm trying to think if there was something during this podcast that, not this episode, but just in the process of actually getting room tone. I don't think there was, but no, I'll typically do that if I'm recording something in just different locations. Now, I won't specifically get 30 seconds of room tone. What I'll do is I will find 4 to 5 seconds of clean audio. So if I'm like speaking on camera and then I overdub myself with voice through a microphone, you got to adjust the voice to try and hide it a little bit, but add that room tone back in to kind of cover up that to make it blend more. But I'll find like 4 to 5 seconds that I can just loop and use that as white tone, especially if if someone records a voiceover or something. I'll find just a piece of that static because you won't be able to hear it, but you can tell once it's gone.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's weird. No, but that's a thing, especially in, I think, film, like analog film, probably more important than digital, but I'll still use it digitally.
Yeah, I'm gonna say digital. I would think digital, you could just, I don't know, tune out the frequency or whatever.
And that's the thing. So, digital, as long as you have a little bit, you can easily copy it.
Yeah.
To where if you working on film, you would want a good long roll, 30 seconds, so you would have like 100 feet or however many feet that is, maybe 50 feet of just that tone, so that way you can put it in places, or you can duplicate the audio, like re-record it, and make copies of it, just to have it. But digitally, yeah, you could find a little tiny sliver and then just duplicate it a bunch if you need to.
The magic of movie making.
The magic of movies.
It's magical. Yeah. I mean, this is a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. And, but yeah, I wanted to kind of talk about this for our hidden gems
It
segment,
definitely is a hidden gem.
because I feel like I don't think I've heard anybody really talk about this. I'm sure people have. I'm sure there's videos on YouTube about it or something.
They get tons of views.
Tens of views, just like ours. We'll add to it. But yeah, I don't hear anyone really talk about this. A lot of movies. I mean, yeah, you just don't see a lot of movies like this about making movies.
Yep. I was trying to think of a good movie about the making of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really came to mind. Can't think of anything right now.
Tropic Thunder. Yeah, but that does it in such an over-the-top way. But yeah, State and Maine be the only one I could think of. I only saw that once, and that was in college, but I remember it being funny.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I love when we do these things because this is one of the better things I've seen all year.
Yeah?
I've never seen it. I mean, nowadays, it's hard to find good things to watch, and this is one of them. This is good.
Yeah, and it's streaming free. So
where'd you watch
Peacock?
Peacock?
Peacock, yeah.
Okay. I stole your DVD.
Yeah, you stole my DVD, and I had to stream it like a
man.
But yeah, even on the because I saw it on Peacock, and I was like, oh shit, because I'm poor. I have the ad supported.
Help me.
Help me, I'm poor. I have the ad supported, but no, I like how Peacock does it. They just play a bunch of ads at the beginning, and the rest of the movie is
that's not bad.
Yeah, which whoever made that decision understands that
they get it.
Yeah, they understand it.
They get it. That's good.
Well, anything else to add for
No,
Oblivion?
I recommend it. Watch it.
I recommend it too. It's free. It's fun. It's unique. It's and it's a good little independent movie with a good point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, join us next time as we kick off October. Ooh, spooky. As we talk about Silence of the Lambs.
Yes. Classic.
Yes.
Classic movie.
And we'll have tons of trivia for that because I watched it last night. And it's still awesome.
Did you still like it?
Yeah, I still liked it.
It's pretty good, right?
But I had it on Criterion, and it was still in the cellophane wrap of my Criterion thing. So I busted that open last night. And then after we watched the movie, Christy fell asleep on the couch. I started watching bonus features.
Did you get in there?
I got in there, and then I continued this morning.
Nice.
So it was. I think I sternly told my daughters to be quiet.
You told them
they were running around.
Stop
like,
it.
And I was like, I'm trying to watch this. Damn it!
I'm trying to watch Silence of the Lambs here.
Not the movie, just the bonus features.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll have tons of trivia on that one.
Perfect.
But awesome.
Till next time, Jay.
Till next time, Matt.